Happy Valentine's month, everybody. I'm the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to share with you some of my favorite Valentine's Day episodes from TV shows or even movies. Um, Not everything is all lovey-dovey. Sometimes Valentine's Days deal with heartache and everything. So, some episodes will be romantic and lovey-dovey, while others will be very sad and heart-wrenching and stuff. But love is love. It doesn't always come with smiles and giggles and glee. So, I'm here today to talk to you about Power Rangers in Space. Let's see, what episode is this? Grandma's Matchmaker. So this episode is an Ashley episode in which her grandmother comes to visit. I gotta say, the woman who plays her grandmother is hilarious. The facial expressions, the way she acts, the things she does. Give this woman an award already. I've been wondering for years who in the world plays her grandmother. It's not listed nowhere online. And I'm just like, a woman that eccentric, you think they would put like her identity online and stuff, but no. I'm curious to know if she's acted in anything else, or even if she's still alive or not. And so basically this episode is Ashley grandma just wants her to find a boyfriend and get married. So it's one of those pushy, shovey type things. And so when Ashley finds this out, she's not thrilled. So she decides she's gonna lie and say Carlos is her boyfriend. I'm surprised she didn't say Andros because she has a crush on Andros. And I'm surprised Andros didn't get jealous because he likes Ashley and stuff. And so what's interesting is that Carlos does not seem interested in this at all, but I could have sworn in Turbo, him and Ashley had crushes on each other, or at least because they kept being paired a lot and everything. But yeah, so they pretend like to date, and the grandma gives them like matching outfits. They go to like a amusement park type thing. The other rangers are spying and lying on them. I'm not spying, but spying and laughing on them. I gotta say, when it comes to the lady who plays the grandma, in the first scene when she meets Ashley, they're walking towards the taxi cab. The woman gently smacks her on the butt, and it makes it into make it into the show. But then when you see the deleted scene, she smacks the crap out of Ashley's butt. Now, of course, that did not make it on TV, but it made it in the blooper. I'm just like, how did that make it on a kid's show? And so, so then Carlos and all them like, look, we just need to tell her the truth. And the other ones all like, it's the best thing to do. But Ashley didn't want to hurt her grandma's feelings, but she does it anyway. And tells her that her and Carlos are not dating. But then she's all like, oh, well, now it is the perfect time for y'all to start dating. Her grandma is so pushy with trying to like find her like a boyfriend and husband. And she wants grandkids and stuff. Or great grandkids, I should say. And so it's funny because not only she trying to like match them together, she tries to match Adele together, who is the lady who works at the Ernie's not there no more, but she took over Ernie's place and turned it into like a French fry type place. Wow, that's all I know they eat. All they ever eat there is French fries, and it has like this Jamaican type thing. And the Adele actress, she still acts to this day. And she's lost a lot of weight. I don't even recognize her no more. So like, good for her. And so um and then the grandma tries to match herself with somebody towards the end. Like the grandma's just like hilarious, man. But yeah, the big monster of the day is this type of like termite type monster. It looks great. The costume is amazing. I miss that old school Sentai scary monster look. I hate newer Power Rangers where they look silly or they're just really big and bulky and stuff. And so, like, this termite thing, and basically, it's really tough. The Rangers have a hard time fighting it, but they are able to defeat it, the female version. However, she's laid eggs all over the city, and Astronomer wants them hatched now. I love Astronomer's little like brunette wig in this thing, man. They gave her some really cool wig. Astronomer is one of my favorite villains in all time, which is ironic because the actress who plays her has the sweetest voice ever and plays one of the most evil villains ever. And so, like, at some point, the little like termite things they hatch, and so they form into a bigger monster, a tougher one, a male one, and so he's giving the Rangers, a fight for their lives and everything. And what's interesting is in Sentai footage, the Silver Ranger is actually in this episode, but he hasn't been introduced yet. So they had to swap his scenes out with Ashley. And so, like, it's funny because the grandma's one of those nosy people. So every time the communicator goes off, she's all like, "What is that? Let me see that. What is those strange little thing?" But she's acting like she's like really interrogating them type thing. And I'm just like, why is she so concerned when she hears like a beeping noise and stuff? you know? But of course, this is before cell phones were so popular and all you hear were beeping noises. Man, I wish I would have got a communicator when they had the things out for Bandai. Now they're like over $100 something online because all the people on eBay like want you to pay that much. I hope Hasbro, my bad, re-releases the communicators. God, I want one so bad, but no one them. They'll make it out of cheap plastic. They're so cheap now. Like their morphers look so cheap. I kid you not. Like that's the reason why I didn't get the little Dino Fury morpher. It looks like cheap plastic. So, anyways, Ashley's with her grandmother. The other Rangers are trying to fight the like termite dude. But then she finally morphs and she leaves her grandma. Only for the grandma to be all like, my granddaughter's in danger and I have to help her and stuff. So this cop tries to help her, but she ends up like flipping the cop and stealing his car. The car chase scene is hilarious. The facial expressions this woman has on her face, give her an award, man. I swear. So then the Yellow Ranger, which is Ashley, sees this. And so she tries to stop the car because the car is out of control and the brakes don't work. And it's a really daring chase scene in the Sentai footage because it's like she's holding on to just like, the window and the car just speeding out of control. It's really intense. You don't see that cool like action stuff no more. Not even in action movies and stuff. And so she finally joins the rest of the team, and she's pissed that because the grandma's all like she don't know why she does what she does. She just jumps into like stuff, and yeah, man, like you really do, like you're so pushy and stuff. You just need to like chill. Now, one thing about the grandma that's interesting is her voice. It's super high pitched. I wonder if that's her real voice or not. Because back in those days, they used to augment people's voices for a certain field they were going for. And so, like, because when you watch the deleted footage, her voice sounds pretty normal when she's shouting. And so I'm thinking they high pitched her voice. Also, they must have did some of her stuff in ADR because there are so many times her like dialogue does not match the mouth movements. So that's really weird. And so when they call on the Megazord, Ashley takes like front and center, which is kind of cool seeing the Yellow Ranger like taking front and center of like, the battle. Because she has a bone to pick with this monster and everything. And so this is the first time but two things that happened in this series. First things first, when she was fighting the monster individually, she uses her battle blade for the first time. And ironically, she is the only ranger in this series to have like a special weapon attached to like their suit. And I don't know why Andros doesn't have it, 'cause he's like the Red Ranger. So that's kind of cool they gave her that feature. Nobody else has that feature. And so like when the Ranger had to call on the Quadro Blaster and the Andros calls on his thing, of course they had to swap out like certain footage because the Silver Ranger's not there. And one one thing that's always interesting about In Space is that, okay, in the Sentai footage, Carlos, the Black Ranger, is second in command. But in the American footage, it's TJ, the Blue Ranger, who's second in command because TJ used to be the Red Ranger and Turbo. They should have just made him black, but they had a rule in Power Rangers to no longer, never, ever, ever, ever make a black person a Black Ranger and an Asian person the Yellow Ranger until they changed that in Operation Overdrive and they made that black dude the Black Ranger. That's when Disney had it. And that's because of the whole racial controversy from like the first like season of Mighty Morphin. And so another first, like I was telling you about, the monster doesn't even blow up. They freeze the monster and then just break him apart. That's kind of cool. That's the only time that ever happens in this series. And so like it pretty much just ends, you know, like I said before, the grandma leaving and her trying to like match Adele with somebody, and then her trying to match herself with somebody. And you know, it's just like a cute, fun, like silly episode. And I love In Space. It was one of my all-time. It was one of my all-time favorites. I don't know which is my favorite, either this or Lost Galaxy. Sometimes I say Lost Galaxy because it's more serious than this one because they're still doing the Zordon era of like the high school stuff until they leave and they leave off Earth and then they finally just go looking for Zordon in space. And so like they still had those sillier moments and like this season, and you know, and it's just like Bulk and Skull are still there, which I don't understand why, because like they're adults now who should be in college but not, so they're hanging out with the professor dude. And when they do interact with the Rangers, they're hanging out with teenagers and stuff, and they're like grown adults now, so it just never made sense for them to stay in the show. And then so yeah, but like I said before, this is just like a fun, cute little episode. It's nice that Ashley had like a center episode that focuses on her. Um, now, wasn't that romantic or depressing, depending on what kind of video I just talked about? Okay, well, happy Valentine's Day, everybody, and bye.